all. Thank you for joining all. A very good afternoon. Myself, Mahima, on the behalf of the Branalytics team and our partner Ozontel, we welcome you all on our webinar, Ensuring the Human Touch in ChatGPT Era, a look at Fintech support ecosystem. Thank you all for joining today's session, and we look forward to make it interesting and engaging with you all. There would be a Q&A after the panel where the attendees can put the questions on the chat box from where we can take it up. Let us start by introducing our partner Ozontel. Ozontel is an industry leader with the customer experience space, offering businesses a robust omnichannel platform to engage end-to-end communication flows. The platforms help enterprises to engage with customers at every touch point across voice, chat, SMS, WhatsApp, and other digital channels. Ozontel offers its customer a global infrastructure that is fully compliant with the telecom regulations across United States, South and Middle East Asia, and India. Today, we would hear interesting insights to understand the importance of human touch in the fintech support ecosystem and how to strike the right human and technology balance. Now, I would like to introduce our moderator, Prantik Goswami, Manager Account-Based Marketing in Ozontel Communications. Now, over to you, Prantik. You can take it from here.
Thanks a lot, Mahima, and welcome everyone to this exciting panel discussion that we have today. Am I audible now? Hey, hi, Ekta. Is it better now? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you, Prantik.
Okay, great. Good afternoon, everyone. I had a minor technical mishap today, and right on time, the systems are on today. Welcome everyone to this exciting panel that we have today, and I'm Prantik. Thank you, Mahima, for the introduction. I look after account-based marketing at Ozontel. We are a cloud contact center and cloud telephony-based organization serving more than 2,500 companies across India, US, and the Middle East. But before we go ahead to the panelists, for the panel discussion, I would like all the panelists to give a short intro about themselves, what they do about the organization, and the years of experience in fintech. But I have Sudhanshu as the host. Why don't you begin, and then we go to the panelists.
Yeah, hi. Thank you, Prantik. So I'm Sudhanshu Mishra. I'm the Vice President of Business Development with Ozontel. I look after the enterprise account sales. I've been with the company for about 16 months now. And overall, I've been in the IT and technology services business for more than 30 years across different companies. So looking forward to this exciting discussion and exchanging thoughts with all of you.
Thanks, Sudhanshu. Anjum, how about you go next?
Hi, thank you, Prantik. Thank you, Sudhanshu, for inviting me here and sharing my thoughts. My name is Anjum. I come with a couple of decades of experience. Started my career with GE, with vendor financial services, a typical contact center, and then moved to Middle East, worked in customer experience space with banking and financial services, moved back, worked with Tata Sky, and then moved to Fintech with M-Swipe, and now I am Senior Director, Enterprise Sales with Razorpay.
Thanks, Anjum. Looking forward to hearing your insights today. And
thank you.
Next, Samriddhi.
Hi, everyone, and really thank you for inviting me onto this event. I have around 16 years of experience across the publishing and the fintech space. Fintech lately around 6.5 years experience. And I've been working with CreditBee for over 2 years now, and I'm the AVP of product in here.
Thanks, Samriddhi. Mike, welcome.
Hey, everyone. I'm the VP of product at Upstox. Been at the company for roughly 2 years now. Total in financial services, about 10 years, working in product management and data science. But then separate from there, working in financial services, also worked at other Fortune 100 companies like Amazon and Disney.
Thanks, Mike. Great to have you here. Nikita.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Prantik. Thanks, everybody. And thank you for having me on this discussion, the most talked about technology shift, let's say that. I come with a decade of experience, started my career with media, with India Today and Aaj then moved to Fintech. It's been 8 years in this industry, worked with American Express, brands like Airtel Payments Bank, and now I'm with PayU, taking care of their consumer tech partnerships vertical. One of, again, the exciting things to do in this particular industry. It's been, 7 months with this company, and looking forward to both the company and the discussion today.
Great to have you here, Nikita and Mr. Mazin. I think you are on mute, or there's something wrong with the audio.
You are Mr. Mazin Abdullah. You're muted. You need to unmute
Yeah.
yourself.
Actually, you're not muted. I think there's some problem with the mic or audio. No. Mr. Yeah. So until Mr. Mazin joins us back, so we have with us today payments company, we have a stockbroking, we have Mr. Mazin, who's from, again, payments. We have lending-based company. So it's fair to say that we have a fair representation of fintech ecosystem here today. A report by Gartner says that by 2027, chatbot will be the major channel for resolving all customer service, customer queries in the fintech space. But
am I audible now?
Yes, Mr. Mazin. Yep.
Okay. Hi. Sorry. So sorry. I think some issue. Hi. This is Mazin. I currently head co-lending and fundraise at Cred. I have a decade plus years of experience. I worked in Standard Chartered Bank. I worked for Bank Bazaar. I've worked for Lending Card. So largely been in the financial services in the fintech space. Happy to participate in this panel discussion. Thanks. Thank you. Thanks, Prantik. Thank you, organizer, for this opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Mazin, for joining us today. So as I was saying, so we just started, Mr. Mazin, without you, but I was talking about a Gartner report wherein it was said that chatbots will be the prime major channel for resolving all customer queries by 2027. But there's another report by McKinsey which says that human touch will be equally as important. So we have all gathered here today to find the balance between technology and human touch in the era of ChatGPT. We know ChatGPT is the buzzing keyword, and generative AI is taking over storm in not just fintech but all industries. And we are here to understand the fine balance between technology, the human touch in the fintech support ecosystem. So to begin with, my first question to all the panelists, and we want to start the discussion today, is what are the ethical considerations in using a tool or a generative AI tool like ChatGPT in the fintech ecosystem? What are challenges? Just anyone can start. Mr. Anjum, you want to start with this, please? You're on mute.
Prantik, sorry, if you could repeat it again. Was it like, what are
the ethical consideration and potential pitfalls of using ChatGPT in the fintech support ecosystem?
To be honest, Prantik, I don't see any pitfalls in using ChatGPT. I feel it'll augment the customer experience space. It'll augment the governance that we have today, right? So, I would rather see it that we have to, cohabitate, with ChatGPT rather than, taking it as something which is here, for our jobs. So truly, I don't see any pitfall. I only see, if regulatory requirements are met, I see ChatGPT supporting us, in our onboarding space. I see ChatGPT or AI helping us, with the KYC, which today we do with the human touch. So, I rather see, a future where, my merchant can onboard with just a facial recognition, right? When we talk about generative AI, right? Rather than going to and fro on different documentations.
Very well, sir. I think there's a lot of possibilities in the fintech space onboarding. One important point. Mike, your thoughts on the same?
Yeah, I have a bit of a different take. I know that a lot of what's driving this right now in terms of why people are talking about it is there's some really cool, interesting use cases. You see about all the headlines, like, oh, it can do this, it can do that. And of course, there's a few instances where you're seeing where the AI is blatantly wrong. You know, sometimes it's on like the image generation where it does something very weird. So obviously there's some instances where you're creating this content using AI and it's going to make some obviously incorrect statements, but you can get around that. I think the bigger issue for me is when you're trying to generate this content at scale and it's perceived as high quality and it's looks high quality until you have an expert in the loop go in there and see that, yes, this is actually completely correct, or maybe there's a slight factual inaccuracy, and that slight factual inaccuracy could drastically impact a customer's portfolio if it's trying to talk to them. So it's just things like this. So it really boils down to still very similar concerns with like machine learning, where you need to have people that are experts in this, cleaning the data, categorizing it, tagging it, and of course, validating the accuracy of the results. So it's not much different than what's going on with machine learning, but a lot of opportunity still.
I think a very different viewpoint, but I think we should only use the technology when we are 100% sure of it. Samriti, your thoughts on the same? You're on mute. Okay.
I kind of resonate what Mike just said, right? And it's a really good tool. You can generate a lot of content, and you know, the data that you get out of it, or the response that you get out of it, is basically as powerful as the training that the you know, the GPT models had, right? So there has to be you know, different mechanisms to make sure, you know, the data that is trained, or the GPT models that are trained on, is always updated, right? So that's a different thread that people have to take care. Apart from that, I definitely think we have to, you know, live together. I know the human touch as well as the ChatGPT. However, I feel that ChatGPT should be more of a tool where you know, it provides potential answers for human review first, and probably then it is you know, and then it is actually sent out.
I think very well said again. Nikita, your thoughts? Would you like to add something?
I would probably say, Prantik, we should ask this question to ChatGPT itself. See, the only reason, you know, why we weren't able to get a more human touch kind of a response is why this question has been put to the panel. But to talk about it, see, the thing is, of course, ChatGPT is an amalgamation of global experience. We're going to have a lot of evolution in this stage in the coming years. And if I let me put it this way, the art of mathematics is as old as time itself. However, the mathematics of art also developed when art became a commodity, right? So the AI is very well versed at handling art and mathematics individually, even marrying, you know, the different kind of aspects, but crossing boundaries and managing the nuances is, I believe, still a distant future, and, you know, in the realm of fiction. So that is where we can say that it's a balance of both. There are going to be many situations where, you know, ChatGPT can solve 80% or 90% of human touch problems. But still, there will be certain aspects where we will involve both the human touch and you know, an AI tool solving and cutting down a lot of cost expenses and KYCs for that matter, that, you know, where we're kind of seeing the major fit of this particular tool in the coming future in various industries is my take on it.
Very well said. And we are definitely gonna take a deeper dive into the correlation between human touch and AI later on. Mr. Margin, your thoughts? No, we can't hear you, sir. Sudhanshu, the experts have spoken. What about your viewpoint from it coming from the technology side? Sudhanshu, you there? Till Mr. Margin joins.
Yeah, hi. Hi, Raj this side, Vice President Tijori. Welcome everyone.
Sudhanshu, you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Okay, sorry, I think every time I mute myself, unmuting is not possible. I don't know some third word tech issues. Okay. Am I supposed to speak
Yeah,
next?
please
Yes.
go ahead.
I think the biggest pitfall I see is AI has the ability to further accentuate or exacerbate the biases that we have in our thought process, in our decision making, in our input data, right? So it is possible today, tomorrow. And let's talk. And since you said spoke about fintech, right? Let's talk about lending fintech. And I think lending is something that I've done all my life, right? I think the biggest problem is it is possible that people of a certain race, people who live in a certain neighborhood, people with a certain background have more defaulted on a loan more in the past than the others, right? Now, unfortunately, AI will take that data or ML will take that data and keep rejecting people with a similar who come from a similar race or a similar background or a similar community or a similar neighborhood, right? So any such biases that exist today, right? AI has an ability to further accentuate it, right? Increase the problem, right? And it will lead to a situation, right, that the people from a particular background who are in any case poor, and they are poor, and hence that they don't get a loan, right? And these people don't get funds in future as well, right? Because in the past there may have been a certain behavior, right? So I think this is the biggest moral dilemma that I see with AI, right? It may accentuate or it may increase the racial biases, the background biases that exist in the society today.
Very well said, Mr. Mazin. Sudhanshu, lastly, your thoughts on the same? Sudhanshu,
Sudhanshu's screen is frozen.
yeah.
Or Sudhanshu is frozen.
We have a technology discussion, and today we have
I have a point to make here, Prantik. I feel the space that you guys are in, Ozontel, in particular, is a very, very interesting space. It's very nostalgic. When I started as a contact center agent, I was given a script. We were told to keep aliases, and look at the time now. Gone are the days of scripts, man. Gone are there's no need for us to have 13 different languages, right? So you talk to whoever you want to talk to. There's a language bar which is being playing and which is getting converted, right? So the space has gone far and beyond, right? You don't get 20 telemarketing calls, rather you get 10 robocalls, which is equally disturbing, but still that's how the prompts are collected now.
No,
So yeah,
now we get 20 WhatsApp messages from 30
I know
players, right? That's the new trend now.
That's a new trend. True.
I think we are equally guilty in this part, but that's how we are helping organizations like yours reach out to the customers, reach out to your prospects in a way. Sudhanshu, you were frozen.
Yeah, there was some connectivity glitch here. I guess, again, as somebody else mentioned, it's third world problems, as we call them. Although on technology, I don't think we are third world. We are, I think, far ahead of most of the companies, especially in fintech space. The kind of things India is doing is far, far more than, I have friends from abroad who come here and are shocked by the kind of, strides we've taken in the financial services space, in spite of all the high level of regulations that we have in this country. So, but yeah, internet does go down once in a while, and especially when you need it most. So, as Murphy's law, this is a very interesting question, and I'm amused at the different viewpoints that have come from the practitioners of fintech. Frankly, we are a facilitator or an enabler as Ozontel. We are not really a financial services provider, but we work with a whole lot of fintech companies, NBFCs and BFSI organizations, and as a partner to the industry, and as an observer, and as a user and a consumer of this industry, I have a few views which I'd like to just take a couple of minutes to articulate, and maybe you can, giving a bit of a perspective from both sides, and I'll be very happy to hear your reactions as well. So, the question that Prantik asked was about ethical considerations and potential pitfalls of ChatGPT on the fintech support ecosystem. Now, when it comes to ethical considerations, there is a lot of gray area which we have to kind of navigate in this country, and your industry is of course is most exploited by people with malafide intentions, right? So I would say that when you start using technologies like generative AI or ChatGPT, some of the key points that you have to consider, of course, are data privacy and security. I'll just enumerate. I have other points. One of the most important things is data privacy and security. When you see an automatic bot or a generative AI kind of a solution, giving you handling sensitive financial data, account numbers, transaction details, personal information, you as a user, you start wondering whether there is the strictness of data privacy and security standards like encryption, access control, or compliance with the regulations such as GDPR, CCPA, etc. Your industry has a whole lot of such acronyms. Are they being adhered to or not? So the data needs to be stored and transmitted securely to protect the user privacy and prevent any data breaches. And that confidence has to come across to the customer or the consumer very strongly, and to the comfort of the regulator itself. The second thing is the transparency. Now, fintech support systems which start using AI, uh, especially like ChatGPT, what is the data they are collecting? How is it making decisions? The users have to be informed about the limitations and capabilities of the system. Somewhere, I think that is lacking. And as you see, as Anju mentioned, that you get a lot of these robotic calls these days, or WhatsApp messages sent by bots or automatic systems. You are not sure what are the risks associated with this. Is there somebody actually trying to take advantage of the information that you have given out in the public domain? So providing clear explanations and options for users to seek human assistance when they need, and other measures which can help build trust and ensure responsible use of such tools is very, very important. Thirdly, which is a little bit related, is about the reliability and accuracy. We talked about privacy, security, transparency, etc. But reliability and accuracy is also important, because AI tools can work only as intelligently as it has been taught to, or as intelligently as it has learned to, right? So it's important to make sure that it is given the right accuracy and reliable responses for user queries. And like any other AI system, it can have limitations, it can make mistakes. It's important to make sure that there's some kind of oversight on it to make sure that the responses and the actions are regularly evaluated, to make sure that they're accurate, and there are mechanisms in place to rectify any errors or anything that any unintended outcomes that may come from it. And most importantly, the user is the king in the end. Yeah, the user empowerment is very, very important. ChatGPT can provide efficient support, but it's important to make sure that users are empowered and they have the autonomy to make informed decisions, right? We should not make users overly reliant on ChatGPT. They should have the option to seek human assistance when desired. They should have the option to opt out of certain services or opt in for certain things. And as necessary, balance has to be struck between the convenience that the AI offers and the human intervention. Sometime back, another participant mentioned the right balance between the two. So these are some of the thoughts that came into my mind. And I think the necessary steps the companies should be taking, and the regulator must be ensuring, are around the robustness of governance, compliance, transparency, and user education, which of course the service providers have to provide, and of course a continuous monitoring and improvement. Now, these are all things that companies like OzoneTel can facilitate by the use of our technology, by the use of our we have a large user base, and we also have a system which works as a hybrid between with the right amount of human oversight and intervention that is required to make sure that the user gets the best experience, feels safe, has the accuracy, and his privacy and security is also protected. I hope I haven't taken too much time, but I mean, this is a topic that I'm particularly passionate about, and I wanted to express it. So I hope I've covered the ground that I wanted to.
I think you have laid the ground very clear for the discussion, Sudhanshu. And absolutely, like Mike too mentioned, AI has its limitations. And like Nikita said, we need a certain level of human oversight. So my question to the payment experts here, Anjum and Nikita, you can start, is from the various processes, like be it account openings, be it KYC, personal processes, Do you think payment platforms are ChatGPT or any for that matter, any generative AI ready? And how do you think is the scope for cross-selling too? Like what's the business expect impact for this? Nikita, do you want to?
Yeah. So, to my point of view, Prantik, and we were discussing about the balance between the two, the human touch and of course the AI tools. And if we talk while even you and I are talking, there is the fourth version of ChatGPT that has been introduced to the world. If we go back and compare it to a bot, what could have changed? If I talk about it, we could have literally avoided a lot of warm body cost and still, provided a better experience to the customers as compared to a typical bot. Now, let me tell you how. So when you talk to a chat GPT, the experience is less robotic in nature. It can read through your responses. It can customize its own replies, when they're giving it to you. So the person or the individual who's sitting and asking those questions feels more at ease. If we're sitting here and comparing the AI tools to the originated tool of bot. Now, when we typically talk about compliance and KYC aspects coming into the picture and why, we're trying to again and again fit this particular tool to probably solve the operation side of the businesses before I get on to the business numbers. See, compliance and KYC decisions are very much binary in nature. They're either a yes or a no. There's no, gray area in between. So if I talk about ChatGPT solving business numbers and compliance at the same time, there are close to 20% of the cases, earlier coming to warm bodies. Even when there is a normal case scenario of KYC uploading or documents uploading on the bot. Now, if I talk about ChatGPT, 20% cases earlier coming to warm body would have literally gone down to say 4% or 5%, bringing a huge impact to both the business numbers and the operational aspects. And why? ChatGPT, because see, the experience being less robotic in nature leads to a lesser cohort, seeking human intervention for basic aspects and basic asks. And if we really look at it, all these things were done even before. The automated checks in place, PAN, GST, all document they were all happening before also. Individual scoring, etc. But see, ChatGPT got introduced to be more customized in nature, to be more human touch in nature. You customize it better, you make answers friendly, you make the responses better and make it more conversational in nature. That's how the technology is evolved, and that's how we seek the expertise of ChatGPT coming into the picture. And it's a process. It's a process of integrating ChatGPT to various industries, to various companies. Every company or let me talk about it. Every industry who's going to get introduced to this particular AI tool is first going to customize for a particular industry. Then every company in that particular industry is going to customize that entire tool for their own policies, for their own regulations, their time around, their product solutioning. Every individual who's going to then use ChatGPT eventually is going to use it like a Google search. But the only difference between the two is that's very binary in nature. This is more customized and more human touch in nature, at least closer to the range. So that's how, it is going to bring a lot of impact on both operational and business side of the numbers.
Exactly. I think Mr. Umesh from the audience did say that the major issue is that it has no real knowledge of the correctness of his answer right now. It can emit responses that sound reasonable. And I think it's a fair.
That's a fair point. In fact, that is when I said that it's evolving. We have to give it more time to evolve. See, even in the background, the intelligence that is given to these AI tools is true human. It's human driven. So as much as we customize, as much as we understand how a human brain is going to answer in a situation, is what we customize in an AI tool. And that's how the question and answers, get more customized and more relevant in nature when somebody's sitting online and asking questions. And, expecting the kind of responses that they would expect when a physical touch is there or when a person sitting right in front of them would probably answer back. So that's the kind of evolution that we're going to definitely see in future. And that is where every industry and every company is going to customize the usage of this particular tool for their own aspects.
Absolutely. And I think one fair point which you said about the business impact was if it's 20% now, it can come down to 5% in the future.
Yeah, that's how we look at it, that it including and literally discarding the warm body cost is something that, we should actually look forward to. One thing that it is going to bring a lot of impact on.
Sure.
Yeah.
Anjum, same question to you. Like, where do you see ChatGPT bringing business significance in the support context for a payment company like yours? You're on mute again.
I think there's so many plus ones to what Nikita just mentioned. In my previous organization, I joined post demonetization, when the point of sale industry just boomed. And, it was all about warm bodies earlier. But had we not automated, today, the efficiencies would have been in minus, right? But so it's not that, ChatGPT or AI is a very recent thing. It's there with us for a couple of decades, right? It's just that we have started utilizing it in our business. We started living with it now, and we have started utilizing it better, right? And there are certain use cases in every industry, right? Horses for courses, but in my particular domain, there are a lot, right? So I joined Razorpay, post COVID or within COVID, and I realized if we would have not optimized our processes, we were onboarding numbers in thousands on a daily basis, right? So how many warm bodies, there is a limit to everything, right? So we started working with it, right? We started living with it. We started automating our onboarding processes. And every onboarding, we're talking about KYCs, just goes to and fro, because we need a lot of documentation. Do we need a warm body to do this, right? I would rather need my warm body to do something which is beneficial for the organization, right? So that is where we utilized AI tools, and machine learning helped us a lot. But as I said, with humans, there's a lot of gray, right? When someone is doing governance, there's a lot of gray, right? But with, like Nikita said, but with machine, it's binary, 0 and 1. So either it's a merchant who I want to onboard, or it's a merchant who I don't want to onboard, right? Because of certain reasons, right? But humans take that chance, right? And there are times when we onboard a wrong merchant. Okay, we've seen what we've done in the last couple of years. So so I think we're living with it. I think there's a lot to evolve. And in support, yes, definitely, ChatGPT is helping us, and the AI tools are helping us in tons. But then there is a human element as well, right? We can have AI tools when we talk about WhatsApp bot, robobot, our chatbots. But when it comes to human touch, like a welcome call, right? I would want a more empathetic voice on the other side. So I think both have to live together. That's how I feel.
Thanks, Anju. I think one major factor in terms of bot was that they always give a fixed response, which Nikita was saying. And when it comes to a system tool like ChatGPT, it has the ability to automate its responses as per the changing questions. And one major challenge, I think, in fintech space, in the support space, is the language barrier and tech savviness of the different demographic that India has. A 20-year-old might have a different tech savviness compared to a 50-year-old. And we need to personalize our services. We need to personalize our solutions according to the demographic needs. So Samriti, how do you identify these challenges like the language barrier or tech savviness in your customer support interactions? And what steps would you advise?
A few of the most important things here is, how well do you know your customer, right? How well do you know your customer demographics, right? So be it the age, be it the region the customer is from, be it the kind of, the display language in an app that the customer prefers, being the kind of language the customer tries to speak in, right? When seeking for support, right? So there are multiple data points, the multiple data points which you can capture through various touch points, right? As I said, be it app, the display languages in app, the general preferences of the customer, right? So you can definitely have these data points which will give you an insight, right? On top of that, the region that the customer belongs. So you generally tend to make some kind of a generalization there, right? But then again, when it is about the actual customer support, right? You have those generalizations in the back of your head when you are, directing the customer to various, languages or departments of various languages. But then again, you always have a flow wherein, the customer can appropriately go back or go to where he really is comfortable in, right? In what kind of language he's comfortable in, right? So now that is about the language. Now, a little more difficult to understand is the tech savviness, right? There is a far more, generalization, probably basis age, right? Some might be basis region, but again, that's a very, very broad generalization, right? As I said, knowing the customer is really important, right? But when it is about customer service, and when it is about the human connect, right? The person supporting the customer, right, will have an understanding of, probably within the first few interactions or first few exchanges, people try to understand what is the tech savviness, and then, they tend to, change the style of the conversation, right? So that the person at the other end understands, what is being said, right? So again, there are touch points, or there are ways in which you generalize on the data, but then the human touch here and the empathy here is very, very important, for the final resolution.
Hey, Samriddhi, if I can take a liberty of adding, a couple of points,
Sure.
on the first part, that you mentioned on the language barrier. See, I think probably that was a quick kill, for all the AI tools, and that was a first shot taken by everyone. It's very easy to do that, and I think it's, if you look at all the interpreter tools that are available, though yes, we are not at probably 90%, but we are there at 70%, and with the machine learning, we reach up to 80%. That's a task done, and I am stating this with with whatever little experience I have in the languages. I've done my bachelor's in Japanese, and I used to do interpretation with someone in between. But today, when I see that, that's not happening, right? Because a Japanese guy can have these tools, and without the help of an interpreter, can work on different languages, and thereby avoiding the language barrier. So I think that tool, yes, with Indian languages, accent, it will take time, but I don't see it not happening, right?
I don't think it's about not happening, right? It's a process, right? It's a process that had started, and it's a process that yet has to mature.
True. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, I think very well said, Samriti. Sudhanshu, your thoughts on the same, like what steps would you suggest to address these challenges with respect to multilingual support in order to provide a very simplified or user-friendly user experience with respect to communication in the support journey?
Yeah, so we at OzoneTel provide CX, empower CX through CCAS. That's our tagline actually, and integrating various communication channels such as web, mobile, chat, social media, etc. Are and to create the omnichannel customer experience is what we help our customers do. And this, in fintech sector, this requires careful planning and execution, I'm sure. You have to make sure that the customer gets a unified and seamless experience across all communication channels, irrespective of the language they use. And they should be able to transition seamlessly between different channels without losing context or having to repeat information. One of the most irritating things when interacting with the contact center person is you have to repeat your whole story again and again if the person changes or if you make a second call. When organizations where you don't have to do that automatically give you a much better experience, right? So this is where technology can play a role, and that's where companies like OzoneTel are playing actually a big role. The direct benefit of this is that fintechs and other services companies actually can maintain consistency in branding, in tone, in messaging across channels to create a very cohesive, distinct, and recognizable CX that they desire or that they want to present to their customers. We help our customers set up an omni-channel setup, making sure that you have a robust technology platform, first of all, which is built on cloud. We provide a cloud-based CX platform, which is customizable, scalable. And our CCaaS solution has actually set the benchmark for omni-channel communication across industries. So, without, blowing my own trumpet so much, I want to say that along with the platform, a very good integration with CRM and the right amount of training for the people behind it, and a right amount of, as Anjum also mentioned, the right level of AI integration can bring in the magic that we want to eventually develop. Now, it's something that is work in progress. It's something that has to keep evolving and we have to keep learning from. But it's very, very important in today's day and age where customers are seeking quick services, quick resolution, and instant gratification. I could go on talking about it, but I don't want to digress from the subject of the discussion. Over to you, Prantik.
Thanks, Sudhanshu. Mazin, your company deals with credit card payments, and it's about dealing with multiple stakeholders. It's not just the user who is making a payment, it's the payment receiving company, the gateways, merchants, and all that space. And what happens is you have to ensure that there's a seamless integration in all fronts. And that's where the customer support comes into picture. Like, how do you in a company like yours, there's so many critical touch points, and there will be a lot of instances where that if a particular touch point fails, there is an instance which is created, which means that it's a case for a ticket raise or a customer support is raised. So how do you bridge the gap between technology and a human agent in regards to resolving such queries? And what channel do you think works the best in cases like this, where it's to a very high degree, it's very urgent matter for you because there's money involved when cases like this happen? You're mute, your voice. No, we can hear you. Okay, till the time Margin joins his mic, it is said that 49% of customers leave a brand if they face a poor customer experience. And it's very vital also for the financial services company. And nowadays, the customer is present everywhere. The omni-channel, what we like to call ourselves, it means the customer can be present on an app, on the web, on WhatsApp, or on any channel that we have. So from customer onboarding to query resolutions to renewals, how Fintech company ensure that the security and compliances are met? Martin, I'll come back to you after this.
Yeah, this is a tricky one right here, because as a product executive, that it's always about the customer being first and trying to simplify their problems as best as possible, give them the greatest experience that they can possibly have. The challenge is that you need to think differently when it comes to that, when it comes to security and compliance, because it's really about customer trust. So sometimes that experience may not be optimal, but in doing so, you can get that customer trust, which over time leads to that improved overall CSAT, which is good. So let me kind of put this a little bit more concrete. We have, for example, dormant accounts. This is an example where customers come in and they trade for a bit, and after a certain period of time, by regulatory constraints, we have to mark their account as dormant. It's a huge customer friction and pain point. The easiest thing, if this wasn't a regulated environment, would be to say that, okay, just prompt the customer to trade or to invest, and then they don't ever have to worry about their account being marked dormant. Now, of course, we can't do that from a compliance perspective. So how do we go out there and be preventative with this? So you really can't. The best way to do is understand that the customer is going to have this, and then try to have this personalized experience one-to-one. So whenever they contact us, how do we make it as seamless as possible after the fact? The other part about this, when you really get into the security, is that how do you step into this a little bit slower? Because another example is a customer may call in or may ask a chat, why did my trade get canceled? Well, the perfect solution is be able to, with the chatbot, provide them with concrete examples from their account and say that, yes, trade A was canceled for reason X. That's the perfect solution. But of course, to be able to do that via chatbot, there needs to be a lot of security implications. There's a lot of other things you need to think through, and we don't want to speed our way to that. But you also don't want to be at a situation where you're just giving the customer, hey, here's a list of 10 things that can go wrong, because all they're going to do is get frustrated with the chatbot, call in, and it's not going to solve any problems. So how can you then still give something that's contextualized, perhaps learning from insights that are going on in the call center in real time, provide that information to say, hey, other customers are having similar challenges like this. This is the most likely cause for it. And then, of course, enable them to open a ticket or to call out to them if there still is an issue.
Thanks, Mike. Continuing on the omnichannel front, Nikita, how do you think the omnichannel helps you cross-sell a product in a way?
See, there are two sides to it, Prantik. Let's go back in time when we were only able to purchase things, the larger products in the physical space. What typically happened that if you purchase something, you come back home, you try it, and then you figure that it's not working well. You go back again and, to the store, and you either replace it or change it, or, one of the 2-3 options. And then there's an online space where you purchase things or you do online transactions, where, of course, you get a lot of opportunities to replace, change, cancel the order, and the things get sorted there. A very basic, situation in this is that even in the physical space now, we've evolved so much that even if you go to a store, physical store, purchase something, buy something, come back, it's not working. All you have to do is just call on their, customer care number, or reach out to them through their social media platform, say WhatsApp, Instagram, and you can get it replaced even at the ease of your drawing room. Now, coming back to the current space where we're talking about ChatGPT. In the omni-channel space, of course, we have a lot of situations where customers do leave the brands. And if we put it into ecosystems today, one is B2C, one is B2B. If, tomorrow somebody goes from a bank, a representative goes and pitches a credit card to a customer, to a potential customer, and suddenly realize and recalls that, I can pitch 10 more products from my company to this particular customer. It can be a home loan, it can be an insurance or things like that. Talking about fintech industry, and realizes that 10 things can be picked and 10 things cannot be pitched. That's a human touch. What happens when ChatGPT or any other AI tool comes into the picture? That's where the pros and cons, arise. Now, online, if I'm using a tool and there's a potential platform where a product or a solution from fintech space is pitched, now I cannot expect an AI tool to be intelligent enough to analyze of what security or what data or what products can be further pitched and what cannot. That's where the evolution in this entire industry is what we all are seeking for. While we can solve a lot many situations in the omni-channel space when it comes to both physical and the online space and the AI space, but there are still certain situations where both, of course, as Mike rightly pointed out, data security is in place. Even through the omni-channel space, companies are very much, reluctant in nature to share something and share not, and of course, be very much sure about what we cannot share. So in this omni-channel space, while cross-selling can become really good, of course, even an AI tool can be trained well enough to not really use the product name, but sell through different terminologies, like talk about different languages, but can be restricted in a nature to not bring certain 10 points that a physical touch can bring and not on the online space. We are not really sure. And that is exactly something whenever we talk about this particular topic, is that, this is evolving. Maybe say a couple of quarters down the lane or a couple of years down the lane, it can either be a hybrid model where both the human touch or the online and AI tool is required, or it can be only ChatGPT. We don't know. And that's exactly and precisely something that, all the industries together are working to figure out to what extent can this particular tool be used as part of data security, as part of operational aspects, and as part of even helping us in implementing our numbers. Something as simple as, even when you make your PPTs today, and until date, when we were making our own presentations in our own workspaces, We used to use a lot of features given to us in the PowerPoint presentation tool. But now there are so many tools where you just have to go online, put in your text, and they design the entire PPT for you. We are happy as consumers. Our 50% of the work is done. But what is happening when it comes to all those text and all those details getting exposed to that particular tool and eventually to the software that is creating it? So that's where there are kind of nuances which are like I mentioned in my previous conversation also, that's a distant future. And we are seeking a lot of intelligence to figure out what can be exposed and what cannot be exposed, and seeking the right balance.
I think it's about integrating all your channels with a consistent way, with the right CRM, with tighter security for sure. And Sudhanshu, that's what my next question is, like, what are the best practices for integrating all the channels, be it web, mobile chat, WhatsApp being a very big channel in all industries. Now with the advent of generative AI, ChatGPT coming into the picture, how, in order to provide a consistent CX in the fintech sector, what do you think are the best practices?
Great question, Prantik. And, there are, so, I don't want to give just a checklist of the best practices. Frankly, what I would like to say is that the broad areas in which one has to, look at before implementing anything like this is as Nikita and others have pointed out, is providing the right experience to the customer who's at the other end, right? The customer who's using your services should get the right experience. The tools, in the end, the agent is also a tool. The human being is also a tool, and the messenger of the service in a way. And the same applies to the other tools that you may use, which is AI or anything else, right? It's important to have proactive communication to build engagement with your customers. And for that, there are several tools which are available using social media, mobile notifications. So any updates about customers' financial status, his account status, upcoming payments or upcoming, any new services, renewals, any suspicious activities, educational messages, all these have to be done proactively to create awareness. And they also go a long way in engaging the customer. The customer feels a lot of credibility and trust towards the organization and the brand that you are representing. Then making sure that your overall process, whether it's AI based or a human based or a combination, is open to feedback and continuous improvement, because you can't have a one size fits all, first of all. Secondly, you cannot have a static system. All these systems have to be dynamic, and any omni-channel system requires a continuous feedback and improvement mechanism, whether it is automatically done based on post-sales, so that you deal with post-sales communication effortlessly, or whether it is done through a manual process. But you have to have a system which regularly collects feedback from customers across different channels and uses it to drive continuous improvement in the delivery of their service. The omni-channel CCaaS that we provide, it actually helps companies monitor customer satisfaction, monitor response times, monitor resolution time and speed and quality for each channel independently and automatically. Our platform, of course, provides more than 100 plus reports and analytics for supervisors to gauge day-to-day contact center performances, agent performances, productivity patterns, and various other pitfalls that are there in any system which has so much human dependency. But also the AI aspects of the system are also can be regularly monitored and adhered to through a regular monitoring and mechanism. So the trends and the innovations that are coming in this whole business, of course, are all based on artificial intelligence, chatbots, and making sure that we continue to provide personalized and instant customer support across multiple channels like websites or apps and social media. And I'm repeating myself here. So that the systems are geared not just to handle routine queries and provide simple transactions or provide product recommendations, but also provide a customized, personalized experience to each customer. And secondly, the ability to handle seamless cross-channel experience is going to become a key differentiator across different service providers, because today customers are actually using multiple channels to communicate with their service providers, and they want seamless, the ability to seamlessly move from one to the other to the third depending on where they are, at what time they are, and what is more convenient to them. And it can vary for different customers from customer to customer. So, depending on what their comfort is. And at some level, the physical branches also play a role in customer service, especially for the larger services like banking and insurance and, NBFC kind of services. So that's all I would like to say. These are some of the things that any service provider must keep in mind. And organizations such as Ozontel, technology providers such as our company and others can actually help in the whole journey very, very beautifully and make a significant difference in the results that you are able to deliver.
Thanks, Sudhan. So definitely, I think providing a seamless CX is what we strive for in a way. One industry which sees a very high volume on a daily basis, on a fixed basis, be it monthly closings, quarterly closings, or whenever there's a news event happening in space, is the stockbroking space. And Mike, you come from that space wherein you have to deal with high volatility is what I say. So how do companies like yours manage very high call volumes or manage very high messages in the app? And how do you ensure that you maintain a positive customer experience in moments like this when the volumes go over the roof?
Yeah, we spend a great deal of time thinking about this, a number of meetings a week, trying to understand, what's happening and thinking about potential solutions for this. So some of this is just the basics, your root cause analysis, understanding what those top call drivers are, whether it's a regular occurrence, whether it's based upon customer segments having certain things or issues, whether it's like a third-party outage, or as you're mentioning, a cyclical situation. Like, for example, we have a market holiday coming up on Monday. So we're being very proactive and already letting customers know, not only just in app, but on social media channels, just to be able to be a little bit preventative for that. So ultimately, this is still really about closing the feedback loop, which is really no different than what's happened over the last 1 to 2 decades with predictive analytics. So trying to understand where and when there'll be spikes in volume, where and who will be driving those calls, and what potentially could they be calling about. The big thing we could be doing now with LLMs and OpenAI is then how do you think about producing a personalized resolution from there? So there's a couple ways in which you think about this. One is just a product-based approach, more from a channel shift perspective. So understanding the customer, what they want to do, what are those common concerns? So for example, a new customer, they're going to have this common set of issues. So how do you build the in-app experience, walkthroughs? Maybe this is automated IVR with SMS text to explainer videos. Always thinking about that. Then getting into if you can't channel shift, or if the customer just isn't interested in channel shift, which is part of having a good customer experience, a data science approach. So thinking about it from a perspective, how do you reduce average handle time and not necessarily reduce just call volume? So leveraging the app data to see that, okay, this customer was on this page, or they were looking to do this. So you're already routing the call effectively and potentially producing a resolution to that agent just to reduce AHT, and then ultimately personalizing. So with chatbots for years, I think people they get that they're only so useful. And as what I've been talking about before is that you ask a chatbot a question, it's going to give your list of like, here's 5 potential things that could be going on. But this is where it's about trying to understand, this is a customer where they're at in their journey, and trying to give them confidence that this result from this chatbot is accurate and meets their needs. And part of this is really, again, having that personalized content, education, and even, for example, a lot of questions that we have calls in to our call center. It's just about basic education. How do I do certain things? How do I place my first trade? So I know someone in the chat window talked about OpenAI, ChatGPT taking the place of advisors. I agree with that. Like, that is way out in the future. However, there is ways in which we can start thinking about personalizing content to be able to meet a customer along their educational needs. So some people are from ground zero, somewhere in the middle. So how do you tailor that on a one-to-one basis?
Thanks, Mike. I think the key to reducing average handle time is definitely self-service bot, working the data on the data sets, you know that there are a fixed set of questions which are coming in, day out. And that's how FAQs help building a model around the same set of questions which your bot builds into. And I think that's how you can personalize the experience for sure. You talked about agents, and I think we are down to the last two questions. We are into the role of agents and customers. One thing in the field of fintech is we see that the lot of instances which are ticket raising worthy, like be it a failed transaction, incorrect charges, be it refunds, discrepancies in payments. And these are like very critical instances in the customer experience journeys. Like how, Samriddhi, one question is, how do you handle these critical instances? And also the follow-up question to this, do you think the customer expectations have changed in the recent years? Like, do they want a very faster resolution, or has the resolution expectations of the customer reduced over time?
Sure. So, I mean, we definitely would want ideal scenario where we can prevent all of these, right?
Sure.
So where we can prevent, frauds, or 100% of the frauds, or prevent any kind of payment disputes and discrepancies, right? But that would be a ideal scenario, and the practical is a little different, right? Wherein, but I guess anyone who's in this segment would have few pointers here, which is, the first obviously is have any and all strategies in place for prevention, right? And when it doesn't happen, right, it is about being able to create a system where we can proactively identify, right? So even probably, is it possible that even before a customer reports, we are able to identify and communicate, right? So proactive identification and communication plays a very important role in the customer satisfaction also. So apart from that, we strategize, or anyone of us would strategize a lot on placing visible touch points, from where a customer can initiate communication, and having a lot of education and simplified in a very simplified form, so that the customer understands what has happened, and what are the possible next steps, and how quickly can this get resolved. So setting up proper expectations. Contextual help, right? Whenever such situations are faced, is there a FAQ, or are the FAQs covered where they can provide contextual, they can get the contextual helps. And post that, once if a ticket, if such a thing has been identified, and let's say a ticket of such has been created, the most important thing is how can we prioritize and empathize with the customer, and drive it to closure as soon as possible. I guess it's a all hands job, wherein it's not only about the customer support, but all the teams can get together in figuring out the issues, and analyzing what has happened, probably just the root cause analysis, and is there a way of preventing such kind of things in the future? Is there if not preventable, is there a way of proactively identifying such things, right? And thereby figure out a way, if such things do happen in the future, is there a way of enhanced support experience that can be provided? And the same loop goes on, and it's a continuous improvement where we keep learning and we keep improving.
I think that has been the theme, like we keep learning right now to the future, and see what the future holds for us. Mr.
Right.
Mazin, welcome back. Like, is your you're not audible? No. Anjum, you're on mute.
I'm saying Mazen is facing the third world problem.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, sure.
Hello, am I audible now?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead. I think you were asking.
Okay. So I'll repeat a question which we asked before, like in a credit card payment system, you have to depend on, there are a lot of stakeholders, be it customer, be it banks, be it the processing payment gateway, and there will be instances where something goes wrong and there's a need for customer support. So what are the channels that you use to resolve these queries, and what channels do you think works the best to provide the best CX from your...
Got it. Got it. I think one thing is, and I think you mentioned that in there as well, right? What is the customer expectation, right? I think as far as customer expectation is concerned, I think the customer expectation in the last few years has changed dramatically, and especially post-COVID, right? There was a time when you have to make a payment, right? To add a beneficiary, you would take 30 minutes to 24 hours, and to send money, you would take up to 2 hours, right? Now, to add a beneficiary and send money via UPI takes 2 seconds, right? Less than 10 seconds, and the beneficiary gets the confirmation the money has been credited, right? So because the processes itself have evolved, right? The customer support process, the expectation of the customer on resolving any customer queries have also evolved, right? However, unfortunately, while it used to take maybe 4 hours to do a transfer in the past, right? And I'm assuming the time you take to add a beneficiary and the time you take to do an EFT, to today, when through UPI it takes a few seconds, unfortunately, the time it takes to resolve a customer query hasn't moved as fast, right? I think if there's a transaction stuck, or if there's a transaction that is cancelled, or if the money, or if the credit into the beneficiary account has not happened, but the debit from the account has happened, right? I think some of those issues used to exist, and some of these issues still exist, right? Unfortunately, the mechanism to resolve such anomalies have not evolved at the same pace as which transactions have, right? Now, we obviously process billions of transactions, right? Almost 30% of the transaction that happens on credit card bill payments happens via credit, right? These are obviously billions of transactions, and then there are multiple issues that, and then there are some issues that we face, right? I wouldn't call it multiple issues, but then obviously there are some transactions that they get stuck because there are multiple parties involved, right? I think what we have seen is chatbot, and these are intelligent chatbot, right? AI-enabled chatbots, if I may call it, I think works reasonably well for us, right? Because we cannot afford to, let's say, have a customer service, right? A human body sitting and resolving each customer query, right? I think AI-enabled chatbot works reasonably well for us. It is efficient and it is able to resolve the queries. Obviously, if you're not able to resolve, if the issue is not getting resolved for the top 4 or 5%, which exceed a certain time limit, or in which the customer complaints, customer escalations are multiple, right? We do resort to having a human body get involved in the case and try and resolve it. And as far as informing the customer is concerned, right, of any important update, right? By the inform, may use an email or SMS or a WhatsApp to inform the customer. I think as far as informing the customer is concerned, I think WhatsApp works the best. WhatsApp is one, while the cost of communicating via WhatsApp may be higher than what it is for email and SMS. But I think what we have seen is WhatsApp works the best as far as informing the customer, communicating the status to the customer is concerned. So I think these are the two observations, right? As far as understanding the customer complaint is concerned, I think AI-enabled chat and sort of resolving it on the go is concerned, AI-enabled chat works best. If there are top 5% cases not getting resolved, I think it is where the human bodies get involved. And as far as communicating the update to the customer, when customer is not actively on the app and looking for an update, is where we have seen WhatsApp.
Absolutely. I think WhatsApp, we totally agree. WhatsApp being a channel where it's not just for transactional messages, you can also use it for promotions. You can also use to connect your customer to an agent via WhatsApp. What we like to call nowadays are a contact center on the WhatsApp. You can chat with an agent. If you want, if your query is not resolved, you can move to a voice channel via WhatsApp. That's, I think it's the recent future, which is going, the trend which is going on in all industries. And one final question, Anjum, is how do you think, with respect to ChatGPT coming in, will the role of agents change? What are the opportunities here? Or do you think we need to invest in training and upskilling more?
I completely agree. The role of agent would change drastically. I think from a customer service will become more customer experienced, uh, will be more proactive, will use tools better. We'll need more trainings in all these tools if we have to catch up and start living with ChatGPT or the other AI tools. So yes, training, quality, governance, all these will play major role. Um, I do see, uh, you know, see it. Nothing will get lost, right? I mean, that's the fear that people have, right? Uh, when Zomato came, no jobs were lost, right? When 1mg came, people thought pharmacies will get closed. Nothing happened, right? When Amazon came, Walmart thought, now, the big chunk of business will get taken over. Nothing happened. So I think, the value chain, will be different. I think we'll move up to that value chain, right? And that's where, our support staff, our associates, will have to now, learn all these tools, right? There was a time when, India was a major BPO hub. Okay. Then most of the redundant or the mundane voice jobs moved to Philippines and other centers, right? But today, a telephony is used not just by BPOs, but by, any other and every other company. Okay. We are not a BPO. We are using telephony. Why? Because we use these tools, right? Look at our CRMs. Uh, I have not seen, too many CRMs which are integrated and can give an omnichannel view. I would want to have that, right? So my associates will have to be trained on those kind of skills. We'll have to develop those kind of skills or those tools which would help, a better experience, right? It's all about better experience, instant gratification. And I think that is where, we need to go now. So yeah, the role is gonna change drastically.
True. But yeah, I completely agree to your point. And what we call in our industry is a CTI integration between cloud telephony and a CRM, which enables the agents more in a way. They get a 360-degree view of the history of the customer, which helps them to provide an unparalleled CX, I would say, and which is the future. Coming to this, I think it was a great session. One final thoughts on what do you think is the potential future in terms of support for fintech industries? Mike, why don't you start first, like a closing note?
Sure, I'm really excited about the possibility here about starting to really integrate existing science models with this new technology and thinking about it cross-channel, where you're doing things going from voice to text, using NLP to classify sentiment, to topic model to generate results. So of course, this could be done within the single channel of calling in, or of course you can use this information, leverage this, and then also provide this context in your app to be preventative for other issues, or leverage that insight into the existing chatbot. So anybody else is coming in real time, they're getting this contextualized information. But ultimately for me, it still really boils down to upping your data and science game, because you just can't take this technology off the shelf and implement it. You really need to do the diligence, clean the data, ensure you have the right team in place to validate the content, and really think through the entire experience. Because what are you trying to do with this? Are you just trying to implement the technology for the technology's sake, or are you really trying to solve a customer pain point? And if you're solving a customer pain point, then you're doing the right thing.
Thanks, Mike. Very well summarized in a way. Nikita?
Again, a lot of plus ones to Mike. I think he correctly pointed out. I believe there are going to be a lot many changes and shifts, in the technology when this particular thing comes in. One such would be definitely, hyper personalization of the customer services through the use of data, and typically big data. See, daily fintech companies collect huge amounts of data, and this will be of no use to anyone if it's left untouched. So through data analytics platforms and machine learning, financial institutions can literally extract a lot of valuable, information from the data collected to optimize processes, develop products, um, produce a well-crafted customer service strategy backed by a lot of customer insights. And by leveraging, these kind of big data, all these financial institutions and other institutions for that matter can obtain a literal 360-degree profile of individual consumers, which can be used, in lot many ways to develop a lot many other strategies and help in business and operational aspect. Then, of course, it will help in simplifying processes through the AI tools and robotic process automations. It will definitely improve. We typically need to improve a lot of trust and safety. And this, I believe, is one such area which requires a lot of efforts more than anywhere else, because with ChatGPT, of course, human touch not being there as much as it is there in the other side of the world, it requires a lot more trust for people to build in, to be able to use this particular tool in their daily lives, just the way, they use a phone call to call somebody and ask for responses or suggestions or ideas. And of course, the most important, it will definitely provide a lot of omnichannel experience, which is the ask of the time. Yeah.
Thanks, Nimita. Again, you reiterated that data is the key, and with the use of data, we can hyper personalize and provide better CX. Mazin, your thoughts, closing.
Sure. So I think data, right? Obviously, I think we live, as they say, right? Data is the new oil, right? And I think we live in a world where there a lot of data is getting generated and getting recorded, right? Obviously, data would have been sort of generated in a physical offline word as well, right? But I think the data is a lot of data is getting generated, a lot of data is getting recorded. And I think what it means is it allows firms like us, right, especially the B2C firms like us, to offer a lot of personalized services, offer a lot of products and services which are predictable in nature, right? And let's say I am a wealth management fintech, right, and I have to offer a suggested portfolio to a customer, right? So rather than waiting for a customer to come and enter all his details, right, I can rely on the data of the customer that I already have and offer him a personalized portfolio, right? Similarly, if I have to give an example from lending, right, I don't, in the old world, if you wanted to apply for a loan, even digitally, right, if you went to a fintech website or a fintech app, right, you would download the app, you will give a lot of permissions to the app, you'll provide a lot of information, you'll provide a lot of documents. If it was a bank, you would go to a branch and provide all this. And if it was a fintech, app-based fintech, 4 years or 5 years down the line, you will download and upload all these information, right? So there's a lot of data and document that you would proactively give to the service provider before the service provider can offer you the right advice and the right product and the right price, right? I think there's a lot of data getting generated. We are moving to a situation where the service provider will already know a lot of information about you without you having to proactively share data and documents with the service provider, and they will be able to offer what we call as pre-approved or pre-sanctioned or pre-decided products and services in an instant without you having to sort of proactively offer a lot of things. I think this is where the world is moving towards. It could be offering you an insurance, it could be offering you a wealth management, it could be offering you a bouquet of stocks or a bouquet of mutual fund or a loan, etc. I think all of these things we are moving where as a consumer, I will not have to make too much effort and I'll get the result which is right for me. I think this is one change that I see, and I see change happening very fast, right? I think whether we talk about AI, whether we talk about ChatGPT, I don't think it will be a matter of decades or a matter of 4 or 5 years before it sort of completely changes the way we do business. I think it's just a matter of few quarters or a couple of years, right? Before a lot of the way we do a lot of things is going to change, right? So I think it's not about the next decade or the next 5 or 10 years. I think it's about the next few quarters, maybe 2 years before a lot of things, the way we do today is going to change significantly.
Thanks, Mazin. Sudhanshu, I think three of the speakers have spoken about data being the future of support or the future of CX in fintech. What's your take on it? Do you want to take us in a different angle, or do you
No, I completely agree with here, and this is where I think a lot of care has to be exercised as well. While data is important, data is the key to, and data is the new oil, as they say, for the economic growth of the world, and more so in countries like India. But this is where a lot of care has to be taken to make sure that the data is handled well, with adequate amount of safety, security, and protection, and the users get that confidence that the data is safe, because data is everybody's trying to mine all kinds of data. Just yesterday, I was at an event where the CEO and MD of NSDL was talking about the amount of data that our public sector banks have, and which is not mined at all, and with their reach and with their depth of experience, the data and fintechs and many other new age companies are waiting to pounce on that data and mine it as much as possible. But that's where they have the regulators are drawing the line and trying to make sure that the users' interests are protected. So somewhere that balancing act has to be done. It has to be handled carefully. Technology can play a great role here, and I think we are heading in the right direction. I'm very, very bullish about this whole AI and invading our businesses. I think it'll make the user experience sweeter. It's a blessing for a technology-driven company like us. And of course, the fintechs are leading the charge when it comes to adopting the new age technology and delivering the best-in-class services to the customers.
Thanks, Sudhanshu. Anjum?
Yeah, I'm very gung-ho about the space. Let's look at some of the practical problems. Are we there, when it comes to NPS, are we there at, 80s, 90s? No, we are not. When it comes to experience, resolution, are we there at, 90% of resolution, 95% of resolution? No, we are not. I think these are the very common problems. And I think that is where, the experience plays a big role here. And, the AI tools, the CRM, the omnichannel, all these tools will augment, the better experience that we are looking forward to. And, see, look at the space, look at, how we see, 5 years from now or 10 years from now. I don't see the problems, that we are facing, nowadays. I don't see abandon rates coming up, right? Because tools like ChatGPT can help us taking care of all those warm bodies, which we today are not able to get, okay? Or it is not optimized to get, right? 24/7 working, right? Or, why do I want my people to work 24/7 when there's a auto tool which is available to take care of, those pittance number of calls, right? So I'm very bullish, as Sudhanshu said, for this space, and I'm really looking forward to, what's there in future.
Thanks, Anjum. Totally agree with your views on omnichannel. And I'm sure tools like speech analytics also play a major role. And we talked about some of the problems which we discussed, language and all. And I think there are multiple tools which have to help reduce the dependency of a human body 24/7. Of course, the bots coming in, we can train the bots. Your last thoughts, somebody.
So obviously, everyone spoke about data, and I mean, I'm no indifferent here, right? So that definitely helps us a lot when we are talking about AI and automations and whatnot, right? I mean, starting from optimizing the user journeys to giving them, pre-approved offers, right? Being able to, customize our communications based on the user preferences, right? Having a 360-degree view of our user, understanding them better. So absolutely, this is a very, very interesting space right now, and the only thing that we have to do is be ethical about how to use the data, right? Be very cognizant about the data privacy aspect of it, right? Yeah, that's what I'm going to say, that with these boundaries, if you can use the data to make the life of user better and have better experiences, then that's what we're here for. And continuously we're going to learn and optimize our processes and businesses according to the advancements that are coming.
Thanks, Amriti. I think the question which we asked at the beginning was, will support systems or systems be 100% automated, or will the dependency on human or one body, which you say would go away in the future? But at the end of the discussion, wonderful discussion that we had today, we can surely say that human touch is not going to go in the recent times. It might be, we don't know what the future holds, but these are certainly very exciting times in the industry for all of us. As a technology service provider, we have been seeing changes, WhatsApp coming up, we have bots coming up, bots becoming intelligent. So we have ChatGPT coming. It's truly an exciting space. And I thank you all the speakers for your time and for a wonderful discussion. It was great to listen to your thoughts and thoughts from all the very, even though you're all from fintech, you have from different types of fintech companies, the payment space, lending space, broking space. So it was great listening to your thoughts, and thanks again. And thank you for the audience for staying till this late on a Friday evening. Thanks everyone, and have a good evening.
Thanks, Pranthik. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks everyone.
Thanks, Pranthik. Have a good weekend, everybody, and pleasure.
Thank you.
All of you.
Thank you. Bye.